had got a call from Imtiaz Ali's team, and that time I was studying. I was like, I am no one, I'm not from the industry, how is this happening to me? So my parents were like, you're crazy. I said, yeah, but you have made me this crazy person. But those days that I didn't have anything, I had peak anxiety. I was working every day till 4 in the morning. I was getting paid peanuts. I was just crying that why is this happening to me, but I was still doing it. That's when I took a part-time marketing job. Yeah, I want to do a very classy, cheesy, commercially big Bollywood film. It gets intense. Whether it's love, it's intense. Whether it's angry, it's intense. Whatever emotion you're delivering in, that gets highlighted without blinking. That's a really good invention.
Yeah.
Must be made in China.
Welcome to Take a Pause with me, Varun Duggirala. I don't know how often you get asked this question. I'm sure you always get asked, why do you do so much? How do you do so much? I want to start with the fact that, did you always want to do so many things?
I think I did, because I'm the only child and my parents are working. And whenever they used to be out of the house, I just had to keep myself busy. So I'm actually, now that I think about it, your childhood se hi chal raha hai. Whether it was school or in my house, I just had to do too many things.
Yeah.
So in school, I was the one who was studying, but I was also the one who was doing debating. I was also president of the theatre society. I was also traveling with my school, representing the school on these competitions and stuff. I did everything except art. I was not good at art at all. And then when I moved into college, I did economics, but acting always stayed. I really enjoyed acting. So I always said that I majored in theatre and minored in eco because I was always out of the classroom doing extracurricular. So by virtue of how my childhood and upbringing and early life was, I think I just couldn't stay still. And when it was, the time to actually get a job, do things, when I was doing my master's also, I was in England. And while finishing my thesis, I was in Kashmir shooting for a film. So my parents were like, you're crazy. I said, yeah, but you have made me this crazy person.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it's your fault. And yeah, when the corporate world came, I was like, you know what? The other life I have, I can't leave. So I will do this because this is my bread and butter and this is what I've studied and learned. But the other stuff, which is being in front of the camera, is my passion. And I've always done that. And yeah, then I just never stopped. It just kept on happening. And now I think more careers started coming, like content started coming from that. YouTube came from that. I don't know what's going to happen next.
No, and I find that journey super interesting because, you hear, there's this standard, I would say, template you think of, right? Is that someone wants to be an actor. They work towards it in like, okay, this is the only thing I'm going to do. They come to Bombay, they come to whichever city they want to act in. They really kind of work through the whole piece and do that and keep that as a singular focus because you think this is the track you're on. But there's also another way of doing it, which is the way you've done it, is the fact that, no, I will choose to have a career apart from this as well, which gives me stability.
Yeah.
But actually feeds into me doing this right. We don't have to pick up every job that comes your way in an acting front. You can take every single aspect that you want to focus on. It just requires you to find balance.
Correct, yeah.
So in between doing all these things, do you often or have you often found it tough to say, okay, how do you balance all of this together? Is it constant chaos or is it more like there's a system to it?
There's a system to it. Had it been constant chaos, I think my mental health would be down the drain. In fact, I used to live in Bombay. A lot of people don't know this. I used to live in Bombay. I lived here for a year and a half by myself after I finished my master's, saying, "Ke chalo, मैं सिर्फ acting में focus करती हूँ. पढ़ाई कर ली. Now I'm going to give it my all in acting." When I came to Bombay, I realized it's not easy. You don't have constant work. It's not like you're shooting every day. There were spill of days where I was just sitting, not doing anything. I was waiting for the next audition. Touchwood, I did shoot a lot. I did a lot of ads. I did a web series with Netflix. I worked with Red Chillies Entertainment. But those days that I didn't have anything, I had peak anxiety. Like, I had to do something. Thoughts like, how will I sustain myself? Who's going to pay the bills? I'm not going to ask my dad for money. Career mein kaise hoega? That's when I took a part-time marketing job. That's actually when I realized कि ये भी हो सकता है और साथ में ये भी हो सकता है.
Correct.
So Monday to Friday 9 to 5 I was doing my marketing job. उसके बाद फटाफट ख़त्म करके I would go to RM Nagar and audition. Ad मिल जाता था, जो भी मिल जाता था, I would request my team एक दिन की छुट्टी दे दो, or I would try to schedule it on the weekend. When that started happening easily is when I realized that I shouldn't just be in an actor bucket. I can do both. So I've created a system where I work and every day I do both. And 24 hours we have in a day and we don't realize it. It's a lot. And you can do it all. Mothers are a great example. They're super women. They do everything in one day. I think that's the great example that I have, Nari Shakti, to see everyone around me handle everything. So this is fine.
I also like the fact that you said that it's not like you're giving up one to do the other. When you said you scheduled it in, it's almost a way of saying 1 second. These are different parts of my life, and the security that comes with having a job actually allows you to, sometimes if you're just doing one thing like acting, which obviously has curves, right? Like I said, there'll be periods when you are not, you're waiting for the next audition, and you have that anxiety. But if you know you have a paycheck coming in, you feel less anxious about it. You know you're waiting for the right opportunity. You're not necessarily worried about the next paycheck coming from that opportunity.
Exactly.
So almost that your passion doesn't have to be your profession till it's the right time scenario. And did you almost see that's why you chose some of the series, some of the pieces that you did when you did, because this felt like the right one to do, not just for the financial part, but really for the role that
a lot. Because I was getting a steady income from now my other job, that allowed me to choose rightly. Because अगर मैं सिर्फ acting कर रही होती, then I would have been so dependent on it financially. I would do anything that would come my way. Here I was very choosy. Like when the Netflix show came, I was like, okay, yes, this is good. This is with Red Chilies. I have a great role. I'm playing a spy. There's Jaideep. I'm opposite Jaideep Palawat, brilliant actor. So I said yes to it. But at the same time, I was getting a lot of other opportunities as well, which at that time I felt like it wasn't right for me. So with a very heavy heart, it wasn't easy, and it didn't come from a place of entitlement or attitude that no, I'm too good for you. Just came that maybe it's not the right one for me right now. So, but you're right, that gave me the power to choose wisely. Otherwise I wouldn't have. I would be doing everything and anything.
I want to flip that around, saying, do you feel that because you had this continuing acting career, because the fact that you've been acting since you were very young, and the fact that when you had this job you were still doing it, do you feel you sometimes were better at your job because you had this as well?
Yeah, I think learning curve here, you learn both ways. So because I knew the industry, because I had made a lot of friends with directors, biggest actors in Bollywood, I understand how production works. Entertainment really helped in my marketing career. I knew how to make a TVC. I knew the technical terms. I knew what a dolly is. I knew what a light is. I knew everything. So as a marketer, I would do my brand shoots or ad shoots or speak with an agency कि क्या करना है. कोई PPM जो होता है, nobody could take me for a ride.
Correct.
Because I already knew what it was. So I think that really aided. And I think learning on the job is the best thing you can do. So whether you're an actor, marketer, anything that you do, जितना learn करोगे, that will help you somewhere in the future for sure.
And in दोनों के बीच में, if you look at it, there's the corporate career and then there's the acting one, and somewhere in between there's the creator.
Yeah.
And that almost, when I look at it, it's like the perfect intersection. Huh? Because at one point, it's what the career needed, but it also aided you to kind of, because for me now today, every actor is a creator in that sense. Everybody has something they do online as well. And so it ended up showing a different side of you, which is, I'd love to hear how you ended up becoming a host.
Becoming a host is something that I feel is still new to me, because it still makes me very nervous. Like, you're very natural at it. I hope I am also, but it's because I had never thought of becoming a host. It was never in my things to do. It was never something I aspired to. It was just something that fell on my lap, because at Zomato, I was given the responsibility to launch YouTube. But we had a zero budget for it. That means we couldn't hire anyone. I couldn't hire influencers, talent, YouTubers. सब बहुत महंगे हैं वैसे भी. But I was an employee. And that time my manager knew that she's an actor too, because she just went and shot for a series. While I was working, I was shooting for something, and my entire organization knew she acts. So they said, okay, fine, you be the face of it, try. I created 1, 2, 3 videos, and it worked very well. Somehow people liked it, and then it just became permanent. Because then comments started coming. If we got any other host, comments were like, no, get Sahiba back, Sahiba back. And that love and appreciation, I think, kept me very motivated. Because I was shocked. I was like, why do people want to see me? I'm not a host. I haven't learned this, but they did. And when we used to shoot with celebrities, because we did so much celeb work, I either knew them personally or we had met socially somewhere. So for me, it was very easy. And I knew all the gappe, I knew all the goss, I know what they're comfortable with talking or not. So that really aided into it.
And what I think is also super interesting with that is that bridge of, you know, one side helping the other, of different aspects of you. Do you feel that makes you more confident as a person? Do you feel that, because we all struggle with self-doubt, we all have anxious moments, we all have doubts, but do you feel having this almost multi-hyphenate, multi-side to yourself, which is balancing you out, do you think that makes you more confident in it?
I don't know if it makes me more confident, but it does make me scared. Scared as in, what is the longevity of this? Or something like, how long can I do this for? Because I know there will be a time where I can't juggle all of them. I've been doing it but there will be one day where I get married, I have a child, or one day I get a very big movie that I can't have a job, or one day my job becomes too big that I won't get leaves for acting. So that scares me, that when that point will reach that I can't do it. But I will only stop if I have a good reason to. Confidence comes with learning. When I think that I'm learning and I've cracked something that I thought I would never, that's when the confidence comes. Otherwise, it's fear, mainly.
I want to dig further into the fear part, because I feel we all worry, right? We all worry about, will I last long enough in what I'm doing? Will I be able to, sustain the curve, right?
Yeah.
We all speak about the curves we kind of go through as we progress in life. And also, like, am I making the right choice? I find, because I dabble in multiple things, that sometimes I don't make a choice because I'm worried I'll make the wrong one.
Right.
So
right.
I'll do everything.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out eventually. So that worry about making a choice, right?
So making the choice is very tough, I agree. But there is this voice in my head, which is one statement that I live by now, which if you never try, you'll never know. So I always want to give it a shot. If it happens, crazy. I didn't think about it. It happened. Oh my God, thank you, Lord. Thanks, universe, it happened. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. No building is going to collapse. No company is going to fall. No film is going to shut down because of me. So that's there. So I always try, and if it's the wrong choice, it's fine. I think that attitude is saving me right now. Yeah.
Tell me about the first acting role which made you kind of feel like, one second, this is a moment for me. This is when, because there's a progression, but this is one piece of, one second, this is something which I'm doing, which is that one step up from towards what I always wanted to do. And how was that experience like?
So I started acting when I was 4. And I'm a theatre baby. I was always doing theatre throughout my childhood. Then in school, I became the president of the theatre club. In Delhi University, I became the president. So theatre was happening. It's when I was in Delhi University, casting folks started noticing me in plays and everything. And I started getting audition calls. At that time, I had no idea what an audition is. And I had no desire to be in a film. Because at that time, I was a theatre snob. Ki nahi, theatre asli acting hoti hai, film to kuch nahi hota. But when I started auditioning, somehow I used to audition and the next day I used to get a call. So that realization that, ये तो मैंने try नहीं किया था, अब मैं try कर रही हूँ, it's converting into something. So then I realized maybe I should give cinema or this side of acting a shot. I got a small, very, very 3-second small stint in Dangal.
Okay.
I'm a reporter in it. I look very different because that time I used to do Nukkad Natak, so I was 10 shades darker, because of tan. Um, when I shot that, the director at that time said, "You came for 2 seconds, but thank you, you're amazing." And I was like, really? मैंने तो एक dialogue मुश्किल से बोला है, but ठीक है. Then I gave another audition and I got it. It was a short film on YouTube, large barrel short film, Seagram's का. उसमें I won Best Actor Award at Georgia Film Festival. So when small parts were giving me some kind of acknowledgement and appreciation, I was realizing, why do I shit on cinema so much? It's actually very rewarding, and I am acting at the end of the day. This little by little, small parts, even though they were like tertiary roles or something, really were adding up, and that's when I decided that I can do acting on the side. But my dad had this thing that you have to finish your education, otherwise you're not going to Bombay. So I finished my master's and then I went to Bombay, and I had got a call from Imtiaz Ali's team, and that time I was studying, and I was in UK. And the fact that they said that, don't worry, we'll fly you down to India for this role.
Yeah.
Again, I was shocked. I was like, I am no one. I'm not from the industry. How is this happening to me? So I couldn't fathom that this was happening. But again, it was like, मैं UK में हूँ. You're making me fly all the way to Kashmir. You're buying like 3 tickets for me, very expensive ones, for this small role. And I did it. And the first shot I took, my director said, everyone clap for Amreen, which was my character's name. And after that, I went to my vanity van and I started crying. So then this is what was adding up, ke, काम आने दो और करने दो, and try acting, give it a shot. Otherwise, it was just corporate for me at that time when I was in college.
I feel that's what I'm also getting from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this wasn't about getting outside validation. It's more about you were almost giving yourself evidence that you can actually do this.
Yeah, right. Because I thought theatre and film are very different. So I thought, okay, theatre I can do, I understand. I said, film I'll never get a chance. I'm nobody, no appreciation, nothing will happen. But then when I witness it happening, it's actually it. Yeah. I got confidence in myself that, oh my God, this can happen.
And that moment in when actually went to Vanity and cried, I think that's an important one. Because almost like, I feel that we cry in moments like those because we honestly feel like once again we're overwhelmed by the fact that this is actually happening, but also the fact that almost like, oh my God, this is actually happening.
Yeah, it was like a catharsis. Yeah. It was like that only. It was like a very pinch me moment. Yeah. The next day I flew back to UK.
Went back to study.
Yeah.
You actually mentioned at the start of this conversation, you mentioned the fact that, you tell your parents that I'm like this because I have to ask you this. If you go back to when you were a kid and looked at the fact that you did so many of those things, were there aspects of that which you feel almost like defined you into the person you are today? Like, I think our childhood defines us.
100% it does. And I think it did because since my parents were busy, I think now that I understand, parents have the guilt that I am working, my child is at home alone. Yeah. My parents translated that into a very productive way of putting me into classes. So I was doing piano, Casio, Bharatnatyam, theatre, horse riding, all sort of classes that isko class mein dal dete, shayad kuch aa jaye, it might add to her personality. Yeah. Theatre stuck with me. I quit everything. By the end of it, I was like, nothing doing. I really, really like theatre. And the fact that they put me into so many classes is when the multitude of doing too many things also started happening. And my mom is from an entertainment background because she was a journalist. Then she was the director of Antakshari, if you remember the show.
Of course.
Yeah. Then I used to go with her to office again, only child, she had to take care of me. And I used to sit on the edit table for hours with her because she was editing a lot of shows at that time for Z and stuff. So I kind of got a glimpse of that world. And my dad was this banker, finance, analytical, very logical person. So a marriage of the two, I think, trickled down on me. Yeah. कि मैं ये भी कर सकती हूँ, मैं मम्मा को मैं ये भी कर सकती हूँ.
Antakshari just reminded me of many things from my childhood because that show was such a central part. I think in all our weeks, I was just waiting for that episode to come on. Which actually brings me to another point. That is, when you see your parents a certain way, I think it's for all of us. Right? We see our parents work a certain way, try to balance things out, try to, and my parents' life is also filled with a lot of guilt because am I giving enough time for this or that? You're never really in that space. Were there things that you learned from them through this entire process? Be it where, when you made the move to Bombay finally, or whenever you had to balance things out, or whenever and also like a corporate job by itself can have many elements which would be like, oh my God, like come back home and you have certain frustrations, you have certain these things.
Yeah.
Plus you have this other thing you have to do on the weekend also. So basically you're technically doing 2 to 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Were there aspects from them that you took apart from what you just mentioned?
In acting or movies, films, no, because my parents don't know that industry. Yeah. So they were only worried because they came from that school of thought of what they've seen in the 70s, right? So they were just worried about me when it came to acting. When it came to corporate, since they are from that background, they are service people, they had a lot of gyan to give me and everything. But what I really took away from it is when I entered the corporate world, I was just too scared because I just want to succeed, make all the right choices, be good to my bosses, do great work. I was just this full of hustle energy, where I realized that I was working every day till 4 in the morning. I was getting paid peanuts. I was just crying that why is this happening to me? But I was still doing it. And when my dad gave me this advice is that you need to take out time for yourself. You need to relax, switch off your phone, switch off your laptop. I was like, I can't switch off my laptop. Don't tell me, my boss will get angry. He was like, what's going to happen? And I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah.
If I don't reply for 1 hour, what's going to happen? Nothing. So that realization that you need to take out for yourself, have that balance, start saying no, making boundaries came from my dad. And that has really helped because when I started creating boundaries, it was respected and it was acknowledged. And then I realized मैं किस बात पे रो रही थी. Everyone can create their own boundaries, it's fine.
I actually learned this from my wife Pooja, right? So when we got married 10 years ago, I used to be this person again, like work 24/7, always talk about work, and if you wake me up at 3 in the night saying this is a work call, I'll do the work call. And she would say, no, this is the time when work ends, and this is the time when life begins, and we're not talking about work, we're not doing calls.
Yeah.
And then she did one thing which I saw was super interesting. Like, people would call on a weekend saying, no, you're an agency, client will call on a weekend.
Correct, yeah.
And she would just say, can this wait till Monday? And most people would say, yeah.
Yeah.
They never been asked that question, right? People call because they instinctively come with something, and then we would pick up and we'd start doing the work, and she would just ask that, and most people said that, yeah, we can wait till Monday for it. And sometimes in that boundary we worry about setting it, but it's actually about because we worry so much as the other person to react badly.
Yeah.
When you actually ask for it, they also want that boundary.
They also want it, correct, yeah.
They also want to be kind
That's actually a very good advice. I think I'm going to use that. Can this wait till Monday? I haven't done that. That's a very good one.
Can this wait till morning? Can this wait till Monday? Is always, I mean, it's a good thing to kind of call out because you're not doing life-changing medicine.
Right.
We're not saving lives.
Unless you're a doctor or you're a lawyer where your attention is needed that very second, I understand. And the sad thing is abroad has this culture. I recently went to Australia and we were working somewhere and they said it's Saturday morning. My work phone, they have different work phones. They don't check the emails. India, we have such a bad habit to check our work emails, everything on the weekend. We'll reply to everything even though we know you wait kar sakte hain hum khud karte hain. That's the issue.
Because I don't think it's FOMO. I feel our problem is that it's that वो खुजली होता है ना. So like I haven't checked my emails. So I did this a while back. I switched off notifications on everything except WhatsApp. I've had it off for the last 5 years.
Same. I only have phone and WhatsApp notifications on.
It is the best thing to do. Because you'll anyway check it. It's not like you won't check it. You will check it anyway every half an hour.
But the trigger of that one thing popping, this change has really helped me. And when I see other people's phone and all these messages, I'm like, band karo.
Because you almost get that one that one ting, like you said, you get one ting. It's like one surge of slight anxiety, like one saying something's come.
Yeah.
And half the time it will be CC'd in something random or be a message that is from a telemarketer. It has
Correct.
no
Or some
value.
app is sending you a push notification
Correct.
or something like that is going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of switch off time from social media as well? Does that keep you balanced?
When I wasn't a established content creator, yes, I would switch off my phone. I would not check it. Now that work comes with social media is when my phone time has increased. Unfortunately, I'm not happy with it. So I wouldn't say
Same.
fortunately, kaam aa raha hai. Nahi, unfortunately, because I do think it has a negative impact on me. There are days where I literally want to throw my phone on the wall. My WhatsApp status is so arrogant, but it doesn't come from a place of arrogance. It comes from a place of stress with all this phone drama. It says, I do not pick up unknown calls. Sorry, I won't reply. Because everyone's sending a message not knowing it's Sunday, it's in the morning, it's Saturday, I could be busy, and everyone wants a reply then. They'll send a message. If you don't reply, they'll call you. Nobody has the patience, including me. I'm sure I also do it. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm going to call it out. I'm sure I also do it. But this constant on the phone has really made me and everyone very impatient. But what I have started doing is this: notifications off for everything except WhatsApp and phone to communicate. Second is sometimes I take trips where one day my phone will be off. Last few trips have been with tourism boards or they have been part of my content creation life. But when I take personal trips, there are hours where my phone is switched off. I won't buy a local SIM of that area.
Yeah.
Because if I buy a local SIM, my data will be on. So these mandatory steps I've started taking.
It's the kind of messages I hate the most is someone just says hi and just stops.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, ये कौन है? सिर्फ hi बोला है. इसके बाद क्या होगा? Then you wait. They don't say anything for a while, and is that typing? You see, that for me
And
the
you're
most
waiting.
frustrating message is the person who sends a hi, then leaves it,
Yeah.
and all
It's
you see is
very
typing
annoying.
on top. I'm like, why couldn't you have typed the whole thing with that hi?
Absolutely.
But, that is
And also, I think because of data, everyone has a phone. So I don't know if it's happened to people who are watching this or you. I get so many telemarketing
all the time.
calls. And I have used all these apps to
I don't
block
want to sell
them
my
and all.
car. I've told them many times.
So that's why I don't pick up unknown calls.
So,
As soon as they say my full name, hello, Sahiba Bali bol rahe hai, I cut. I said, no, sorry, and I cut.
yeah.
Nobody's going to acknowledge me as with my full name, who knows me.
Yeah.
So as soon as they say my full name, I cut the phone.
Do you feel all of these together? Because you do so many things. Plus, we haven't even touched upon the fact that you create a bunch of content around travel as well.
Yeah.
Which is the whole. So we're adding more and more hyphens as we go along in this conversation. So before I actually come to my question, I want to ask you about travel and how did travel become an area for you to create content in?
It's crazy how everyone links to my childhood. This should be like a more of a...
Everything is linked to childhood.
It is linked 100% childhood. I feel like Sigmund Freud is sitting here taking this podcast. But the first job I wanted as a child, which was a planned thing. Everything that has happened in my life has not been planned. There have been influences, like I've said. But the thing that was planned for me was I want to become a travel show host. That was always the case. I grew up not watching cartoons. I grew up watching Anthony Bourdain. I grew up watching Madhur Jaffrey. I grew up watching Rick Stein. I used to watch Musafir Ho Yaro. Deepthi Bhatnagar used to be the host.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I used to watch them, but I used to love it so much that
So
I
good
got so influenced by hosting travel that I always used to say, एक दिन मैं ये बनूंगी, मुझे ये बनना ही है. Then there was an opening in NDTV Good Times for an internship. I didn't know what it was, but I just had to apply and I got that internship. And then I started working with Neha Dikshit, who's a huge host back then. So this was something that was on my books for life. When content creation happened, suddenly tourism boards started coming up and saying, hey, you travel a lot in your personal sphere. We have a project where we want to promote XYZ tourism. Would you like to come on board? It doesn't pay at all. But I realized ये तो मेरा childhood dream था. I
Correct.
cannot say no to this.
Yeah.
This is what baby Sahiba always wanted.
Yeah.
So then I started doing it. So I went to, I did something with Singapore tourism, Rajasthan tourism, hotel change. Right now I did something with Australia tourism. I was supposed to be in Indonesia today, but I had things lined up. So the opportunity came and I just couldn't say no. Even though I want to tell everyone, people think that, you get a lot of money, these travel bloggers are not. This is not paid. Nobody's paying you to go and travel. It doesn't work like that. It's a media collaboration. They look at you as a journalist or a blogger who can talk about the community and culture. And I go with that viewpoint only.
Yeah.
So that happened. And also I've been traveling forever. It's something, I really believe in horoscopes.
Yeah.
I know I get a lot of trolls about that.
Is it the moon cycle or is it the zodiac? We have
Zodiac.
many believers here behind the camera.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So I'm a Sagittarius, right? There's someone behind the camera. So I'm a Sagittarius. And by virtue, Sagittarius is someone who can't stay still. They are these wanderers. They're called the wanderer. They're half horse, half human because they keep on wandering. So I'm a true Sagittarian. I can never stay in one place. I'm constantly traveling. So that's why my travel bug also came from, because I had already done like 40 countries and I was like, ye karna hai. I have to do 100 countries before I die.
I feel also there's something about traveling that, and I keep picking this up with many of my guests, right? When you travel, you see so many sides of the world and so many sides of human beings that it just changes not just how you look at the world, but how you look at yourself in it.
Yeah.
Have there been specific spots that you travel to where you're like, one second, this has added so much to who I am right now?
100%. I really believe that exposure, this kind of exposure is actually where you get your knowledge from. So when this term is used a lot in Delhi, is बहुत exposure बड़ी अच्छी है. What this actually means is this person has lived life and seen life.
Yeah.
So when I travel, I meet a lot of people who have a very different life to Indians. Like I said, I understood that corporate life, there is switch off culture.
Yeah.
Here it's not. What they eat, how they talk, their family values are very different. So all of this adds to your knowledge. So if somebody asks me anything about food or culture of any country I visited, I can confidently state it. So it makes you more credible because you've reached those places. And that's what I like. I love the differences that you see in culture and the similarity. Some places you go like, oh, ye India mein hota hai, we also do this.
Yeah.
And some places that you go and they're like, we are so different from our neighbors.
Yeah.
So those differences and similarity was great. My best eye-opening trip was to Pakistan. This was in 2005. I was a teenager back then, and we had gone for someone's wedding. So we had done Lahore and Karachi. My perception of Pakistan as a child was what I had seen on mass media, what I had seen in films, what I had seen during cricket matches. When I went there, my perception completely changed. They are so loving. They were so happy to know that we are from Hindustan. Everywhere we went, my family and I, they gave us thumbs up. They gave us Campa Cola. They gave us chai. And my dad wears a pagdi, so they would only talk to him in Punjabi. That love and care and respect that we got from Pakistan completely changed of how I look at the country now.
Yeah. And it also, because you look at people as people, right? You don't look at people, because I feel we often have such a wide point of view on the world because that's what we see in the media, that's what we see everywhere else. But when you actually go to a place and interact with the people, you see that there's so many innate similarities.
Yeah.
And such interesting differences as well. Like you said, how you live your life, etc. I remember going to Italy once and realizing that whole family culture of how you function. It's a very Indian thing, but you see that in Italy so much in terms of how they are. Or you go to slightly colder climates and stuff like that. You see the fact that it's not like they're not warm. They just live in colder climates. So just the way that they go through the tough weather so much that they have a certain vibe to them. But innately they're still like all of us.
Exactly.
So I feel you understand people so much more.
Meeting people and actually witnessing in real life is way better than what you've read or seen in mass media. The biggest problem in India is people's perception about Kashmir.
Hmm.
Whenever I'm from Kashmir, so I have Kashmiri roots, and whenever somebody wants to travel to Kashmir, they always ask me, "पर safe है?"
Yeah.
Like, तुम जाके तो देखो, it's so safe, it's so beautiful, tourism is booming, and what's very important is the main bread and butter for people in Srinagar is tourism.
Yeah.
And if we talk about Kashmir that it's part of India, if we don't aid it,
Yeah.
who is going to? So even in our own country, this divide happens.
How was the process of shooting there when you shot for the film there?
I have shot there twice, one for Laila Majnu, that film, and one for Tanav, which is my Sony Liv web series.
Yeah.
It has been phenomenal because a lot of shoots happen in Kashmir. So the Aam Janta, the hotel owners, these locations that have been scouted for, they are very easy with shoots because they've seen it since the 60s.
Yeah.
Like from Rishi Kapoor time to now what's happening. So they know what shooting is. They know, they're like, हाँ भाई आए थे. Like, completely chill and cool about it. So shooting there is beautiful because it's such a stunning place. And it's very easy because people are not going crazy. They have seen it since childhood. They have seen their parents see it. So they're very, very safe and cool about it. And it's very safe.
I feel also Kashmir is interesting because I've never been. And I know my parents went there for their honeymoon. And that's photographs I've seen. I've had friends who've gone there.
Yeah.
And it's something which we always keep pending. But what you said is so true. We all get stuck with saying, one second, we'll go to Europe, but you won't go
Here.
in our own country.
Yeah.
And I think that's but I'm seeing that mental block's kind of going away though. I see people traveling more and more.
That's also because they are seeing other people travel, so that has helped. That social media has helped in that sense, yeah.
I also feel the fact that the more movies you end up shooting there, people want to go there. Because people tend to go to places where you shoot movies.
Like the Spain tourism, thanks to Zindagi
Na
Naam
Milegi
Milegi Dua, it really helped that movie.
People want to keep going there and doing the Tomatina festival is what
Yeah,
I've realized,
yeah.
which is not the best thing to do. Okay, I actually, now we've spoken about all these things that you do. Do you often find yourself thinking that, okay, will there come, like you said earlier, like will there come a point where you have to prioritize one over the other? Have you thought about how you would make that choice?
So that's the fear, because whenever the thought comes that I have to leave something for something else, is what I've lived my life not doing. I have lived my life doing everything. So when I think of that position, it kind of scares me, but I know that time will come and I have to do it. Sacrificing one will have to happen. This is not how I can live my life throughout. But if it does, I have made the choice that it has to be my corporate life. Because corporate life is something I'm good at. I love marketing, but I can do marketing for other things as well. I started doing marketing masterclass. So whatever I've learned on the field, whatever I've learned from my experiences, to young individuals and freshers, I'm sharing that experience with. So as long as I can use aspects of marketing somewhere else, it's fine. So the first choice will be leaving the corporate job, continuing acting, continue YouTube, continuing the content creation journey, and have marketing sit somewhere else without having a 9-to-5 job.
There are a couple of things I always like asking my guests, and one of those things is always the fact that there'll be moments through your journey which would have had highest impact on you. There'll also be pieces of advice from a certain career path that you've chosen that really impact you. One was what you spoke about, what your father said about scheduling leisure in.
Yeah.
Was there any piece of advice you got on your acting side that stayed with you and like this is something I'm going to really hold?
Whatever acting advice I have got has been about the craft, about how to act and what method to use and how to utilize that. But in terms of my acting career or how to make choices, nobody's ever helped me, unfortunately or fortunately. Whether it's actors in the field or it's production houses, directors or casting directors, I have never got advice from anyone, which is very strange now that I'm thinking about it.
Because people give advice very like मुफ्त
ये
में मिल
कर
जाता है.
ये कर and everything. But I also feel like this industry, whenever somebody gives you advice, I am very little, I take it
Very.
with a pinch of salt, because I don't know where it's coming from. Is it coming from a good place? Is it coming from authoritative place? Is it coming because uh, I need to do something in return? Is it something because you're offering me something? I always take it with a pinch of salt.
There's an agenda.
There's an agenda, and I feel like that agenda is very, very strong in this industry, because I've faced it and my peers have faced it. The only people whose advice I actually take are mentors or friends or family. When I know the person and I know that it's coming from the right space. And I always am open to criticism. If you think I can improve my acting, please give me every advice possible. Where I have been good, tell me so I can continue doing that. So that actually I've got from Jaideep Alawat once, which now I started using. We were doing this very serious scene, and we were on the couch looking at each other. And I was anxious that time because it was a very serious scene. So I when I was taking my dialogue, I would look here and there. And he's like, "Ek kaam kar, don't blink throughout. Take your dialogue without blinking, staring at me." I said, "Okay." Once I did that, the director said, "Cut." There was no retake. It was done so nicely, and now I started using it that when you're confused about how to take a line, don't blink. And whenever I do that, it goes very easily for me.
So actually, it makes you really razor focused, right? Now, when you were saying it, I was trying it for a
Yeah, it does.
Because when you blink, you tend to look around. You tend to get distracted. But if you're like full focused, it gets a little hardcore after some time.
It gets intense. Whether it's love, it's intense. Whether it's angry, it's intense. Whatever emotion you're delivering in, that gets highlighted without blinking. Yeah. So thanks, Jaideep, for actually sharing that with me.
Oh, that's interesting. It could also be interesting to try. I don't think it's just an acting thing. Imagine if you're having a serious conversation at work.
Yeah.
It could be something you could try. Maybe the intensity
to
of
do
it,
that.
seriousness might show a little bit more.
It does. Other person gets very intimidated then. Kyun mujhe aise kyun
go right. And the other thing I always like to ask my guests is that, because for you, when you take a pause from one thing, you go on to the other thing. So you take a pause from work, you go into acting. From that, you go to travel. Is there anything amongst these which you do? And I don't mean to say which feels like work, but is there something that isn't a craft you do, which is just for you to take a break?
Yeah, I think travel comes under that bucket. When I'm not traveling for a purpose. When I'm traveling because it's a collaboration, or when I'm traveling for shoots or everything, that has an agenda. It has something that I have to get or do. When I'm just on my own, the best thing I want to do is just travel by myself, or with friends or with family, having no agenda at all. And that is where I take a pause in life. Last 2 months were quite hectic because I was traveling for work. I had a lot of shoots lined up. I lost my dadi, who was very close to. So a lot of stuff was happening, and I really needed a break. So right now, this weekend, I went to Dehradun. And I just took 2 of my closest friends with me and said, "Chalo, kuch nahi karenge. Saturday, Sunday, we'll go spend the weekend there." And we did nothing. We absolutely did nothing. We just sat in the hotel. It was raining outside, looked at the hills, and then came back to Delhi. It was wonderful.
Doing nothing is oftentimes the best thing.
It is so therapeutic doing nothing. And when you're not doing nothing, it's very tough to control your mind not to go into overdrive.
Yeah.
Because when you're not doing nothing is when you start thinking, ye bhi karna hai, ghar jaake ye karna hai. But when you have the right company and the right frame of mind, that switch off becomes very easy.
And sometimes when you feel like I'm going to do nothing, you're going to pick up your phone, which is not you doing nothing. That is you giving your mind so many more things to look at.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why I had this one friend of mine, whenever I would pick up the phone to do something, she's like, "Phone rakh." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So that helps.
I like the practice of putting your phones up, facing down on a table.
So it doesn't. Or keep it very far away on the table and you sit on the bed or something like that. This is how I do my alarms. If the alarm is next to you, you'll switch it off, put it on snooze, go back to sleep. If the alarm is in your bathroom, you're sleeping in bed, you have to get up. This is a trick that I've started using. So now, अब एक बार मैं उठ गई, alarm off कर दिया, तो अब bathroom में हूँ, तो my day has to start.
One of the most fascinating devices I've heard about is an alarm that starts running away from you. So it's like a physical alarm you buy.
Oh, and then it.
So it starts moving, and as it starts ringing, it slowly starts moving away from you. It will move faster as the rings continue.
Oh.
So you have to almost chase it, which feels a little extreme. But almost like it might even go into the, like, it's like a small ball kind of a thing. It keeps rolling away.
Oh my
But I
god.
think that's a little extreme.
That's a really good invention.
Yeah.
Must be made in China.
And there's this one last question I want to ask you, because I feel that in many ways kind of combines everything together. Does doing many things mean that you often find it tough to say no to things?
I have a horrible habit of not knowing when to say no. That's why I had to learn it, and people had to force it, or my dad had to teach me, or my partners had to teach me. I still don't know how to say no. Whether I'm happy about the situation or not, when someone asks me anything, and in my head I was like, yes, this happens. I train myself so much to start saying no, but I haven't been able to, and I think that comes from a people pleasing habit. I don't want anyone to be upset with me. I don't want people to think I'm not accommodating. And in that non-accommodating, I've become so accommodating at the sake of my own happiness. So yes, to answer your question, because I'm doing so much, yes has become so prominent that I have forgotten how to say no.
But do you see yourself getting better at it in recent times, or no?
So bad.
Still going down that slope?
So bad. Like, I have had my friends or my partners tell me, "हमें तो ना बोल सकती है." When it comes to actual things, you're not able to say no. So yeah, I've taken up jobs because I couldn't say no, or I've done things I didn't want to, brand deals, collaborations, because I just couldn't say no.
It's a tough one, right? Because you're so worried about what people will think. You're worried about what they will say. You're also worried about being perceived a certain way. I think there's a people pleaser in all of us. I struggle with this a lot myself.
Yeah.
I only in recent times figured that the best way to say no is to just keep that conversation as short as possible.
Okay.
So I say no, just give a slight explanation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's almost taking a stage thing, like exit stage left, like just get.
Okay. Like ripping off a band-aid.
Yeah,
like,
so don't, like, if you dwell in it, you'll start feeling bad. At least for me, I'm like, oh, ho gaya, then let's leave.
And
That has
even
been-
if you say no, then people start, like, I'm citing my example, that I start defending it too much.
Yeah, so
But
don't
you're
defend it.
right. Don't like, nikal jao.
Just say, okay, this is why I'm saying no. It's a no, and go. And I recently heard somewhere that you shouldn't say sorry when you say. Just say no, explain yourself, and go.
And then go.
Saying sorry, then they're seeing weakness. No, once they're saying sorry, so maybe we can get them to say yes.
That happens,
So
yeah.
you don't say sorry, then like, okay, maybe it's a definite no,
Yeah.
it's a dead end.
Only place that I can say no is something that is very different from my value system. It's something that morally or ethically I don't agree with. There, very strongly, I'm going to say no. Which I think is at least one thing that I do okay.
I'm going to ask you one final question, because I think this is a question, I don't know if anyone's asked you this. You do so many things. Is there something you haven't done which you still want to do to add into this mix of multi-hyphenates that you have?
Yeah, I want to do a very classy, cheesy, commercially big Bollywood film, which I haven't been able to crack as of now. And it's so tough to crack a good film, but I don't know, I've tried. A lot of times I've auditioned for something, and then later when the film comes, then already established leading actresses doing it. So you don't feel so bad about yourself. Like, Acha, isi ko gaya tha. That is something that hasn't happened. It's not like I actively haven't done it, that opportunity, or it hasn't worked that way. Another thing that I've been wanting to do since a very long time is be on TV as a travel host. So I know I've covered travel on my social media, but that childhood dream of having my own travel show still hasn't been cracked. Unfortunately, NDTV Good Times, Travel and Living, they're not producing anymore. I don't know who is. I think Netflix is only making travel shows. So if any producer or director is watching it, मेरा dream पूरा कर दो, please.
we're all hoping that it will come true and that you seem to have more than 24 hours in a day. You started off by saying we have 24 hours in a day. I think you definitely have more than 24 hours in a day. So hope you get to do all these things and more.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a very pretty set. I really like it. Thank you so much.